Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about this inside the waistband holster for your Polymer 80 G26. Okay, I've been wanting to do this review because there's not a whole lot of companies out there that make inside the waistband holsters for the Polymer 80 G26. There's a few of them out there that make it for the P80 G17 and G19, which are more common, but I couldn't find anybody else that will make an inside the waistband holster for the G26. Okay, so the way this came about, well, first of all, the name of the company, you guys should know which company we're talking about, is Darwin Defense, and I found them on eBay. Okay, so this is an eBay company. They got an email there. I suppose you can contact them directly, but I found them on eBay, and I don't know, several months ago. I ordered one of these inside the waistband holsters for the G17. I used this for a couple of the training classes that I do to train people. People liked it. Some of the things I really liked about the holster is that, first of all, I was able to talk to somebody over there, right? I was able to message with somebody, and I was able to explain to them that I need suppressor height sights and I need it cut out for a house on 507, which they accommodated really well. Okay, so you got this big ridge here, right, for the suppressor height sights, and then it has a nice cut over here for the to accommodate the optic. Now, the other thing I really like about this design is that it's a design that's pretty common. So I know that it's a good design. It's the same design that I've been carrying on my Shield 9, all right, which I've been carrying that for, I don't know, about a year now. Before that, I was carrying the same design on my Ruger LCP. Same exact design, Kydex that kind of just wraps around, and then it has the retention, the tension screws over here so you can make it a little bit tighter, a little bit looser. So it's a design that I know is good, that works. It's pretty compact in the sense that it's not that much bigger than the gun, okay? And a couple of really great things about this: it has great retention, right? And you can adjust the tension with these screws over here. Now you're always going to want to lock tight these down. So what I do is when I get these holsters in, first thing I'll do is I'll remove the screws, put some Loctite on them. I'll tighten up the tension screws, and then I'll also tighten up the I'll also remove these two screws here that hold the clip in place, and I will also put some Loctite on that. Now what I did, because the first time I ordered it for the G17, really liked it. It was really successful in the classes. I actually carried this around for a day or two just to test it out. Even though this is a big gun, it's still thin enough that you can have a bathroom strategy. Okay, here's the thing: when you want to use the bathroom, right? What I tell people is never take the gun out of the holster, right? The gun stays in the holster because the holster is the safety mechanism for the gun. That's what protects the trigger guard. At night when I go home, I don't take the gun out of the holster. I remove the holster with the gun off the belt, put it in the safe. Next morning, I take the whole unit, right? This is a unit. You put it back on your belt. The gun never comes out of the holster until I get here and I'm ready to shoot, okay? So that's really important. So as far as a bathroom plan, you never want to put your gun on a surface, right? You don't want to put it down anywhere because eventually you're going to forget it, right? You for the first million times you may not forget it. 1,000,001, you're going to forget it. So that's why the gun always stays on my body or it's in a safe. There's nothing in between. I think the one other time that I normally will put it in someplace else is like if I gotta go into like a federal building or something, then I'll lock it in my car. But again, it stays in the holster, right? The loaded gun does not come out of the holster, unless you're gonna shoot the gun. So as far as a bathroom strategy, right? I'm carrying, inside the waistband. Obviously, if you drop your pants, you don't want the gun hitting the ground. So I'll undo my belt. I'll take the holster off with the gun in it. And even with this G17, I'm able to basically tuck that in my pocket, and now this is controlled. Okay, so the great thing about the G26 is even smaller, so that's even easier to tuck into your pocket. And this is a really important component, right? This is something that a lot of times people don't think about it. But if you're carrying a gun, you have to have a bathroom strategy. You have to have a way to drop your pants, and not have the gun hit the ground or have to put it on a surface somewhere. I want to keep the gun on my body. I want to be able to put it in my pocket. This holster design allows me to do this. Okay, so I really like the fact that Darwin Defense is using a design that I'm familiar with, that works, that I know that, you know, I just know it's going to work. Okay, the only issue is getting it to fit, which they did a really good job of. Right, fits the gun well. You know, has good retention. You know, it goes in and out pretty easy. Okay, and again, you can adjust the tension. Okay, let's fire a couple of shots. Howson 507 ACSS. I love this thing, man. So part of the reason why I'm carrying this gun is because I wanted to have, basically I technically should be using bifocals, okay? Because, so let me put the gun away. So here's the thing, with my vision, normally with the prescription that I use, right, I don't want to be wearing bifocals because it confuses the shit out of me. So I use a prescription for seeing far away, and then if I want to read something, I just take my glasses off. That works for me. Now, as far as using a gun, right, basically if I'm using iron sights, under certain circumstances, right, when it's like getting around dusk, it's really hard for me to see that front sight. Okay, even with the glow in the dark, you know, it's just too close. As it starts getting darker, it starts getting harder and harder for me to see that front sight. So with the optics, right, with the Howson 507 ACSS, it is beautiful. First, I was using just the standard 507s with the 32 MOA circle. That was working great. I said this is the way forward for me because I can see either daytime, nighttime, dusk. Works great. So I already made the decision that I needed to carry a gun that would take an optic. Now, first I was using the 507C with the 32 MOA circle. Now I started using this one over here with the ACSS. Big improvement. Also, when I'm training people, I can see that people are able to find that arrow, that little chevron, a lot faster. Because they got that big 250 MOA circle. So I'm seeing that beginners are way better with optics than with iron sights. And my theory has always been that, you know, what's best for beginners is also going to be best for experienced people under stressful conditions. Okay, so I made the decision that I wanted to carry a gun that had optics on it because it works better for me. I was very interested in buying like a Glock MOS, but they are nowhere to be found, right? I called up my gun store, said, hey, get me a Glock MOS. Money's not an issue. Find me a Glock MOS. They couldn't find it. So that's when I started building these guns so I can build them the way I wanted to build them, put the optics on them that I wanted to put on them, okay? So, once I decided that, hey, this is the gun for me, and by the way, I did a whole video on getting the Polymer 80 G26 to work. Basically, you gotta, the standard recoil spring is 16 pounds. You gotta use a 14-pound recoil spring and a 124 grain bullet. All right, and if you do that, the gun is gonna work really reliable. Okay, if you don't do those two things, the Polymer 80 G26 may not be very reliable. But with those two things, the 14-pound recoil spring and the 124 grain bullet, the Polymer 80 G26 that I have made is really reliable. Now, do I recommend that other people carry Polymer 80 G26s? No, I generally don't because I don't know how good they built that gun. I don't know if they, unless I watch them shoot hundreds of rounds like I shoot with that gun and I know it's reliable, I can't recommend it. So for most people, I recommend the factory gun. But if you're in a position like me to build a gun and have the ability to test it, put hundreds of rounds downrange, and you know the gun's reliable, I think that this is a great carrying option. So once I made that decision, basically I needed a holster to carry the gun. Went searching all over the eBay. I couldn't find anybody that makes a inside the waistband Kydex holster for the G26, and it has to be a Kydex holster so it protects the trigger guard. It can't be leather, it can't be fabric, because that's eventually going to fold in and, you know, trigger the trigger. Okay, you don't want to have that. You don't want to be using something that's collapsible. So once I decided that this was the way I needed to go, okay, I couldn't find a holster for the G26, so I went back to this holster over here that I had bought from Darwin Defense. And I basically I sent them a message. I said, hey, listen, can you make me a holster for the G26? And the guy said, yes, we can do it. So first, I had him build me this red one. He sent me this this red one, and he also sent me this really cool magazine holder, okay, to test out. Because I told him, listen, I've been using your holster for my classes. It's been working really good. The one I got for the G17, right? It's been working really good. And I think, you know, people like it. I've already sent a couple of people your way. And I think that the G26 would also be really good. People would want to have that. So I bought this red one over here with the red magazine holder. The women in the class love this. They love the color. Now the reasoning is different, because here's the thing. Over here I got a black gun and a black holster. This can be a little bit hard to see. So when I do my training classes, I want to have a bright red holster in a different colored gun, so people can see what I am doing, right? And I'm teaching them, you know, hand goes on your chest, get it out of the way, you know, pull, rotate, join, extend, right? I don't want to shoot. I forgot I didn't have my ears on. I almost shot. I didn't have my ears on, but yeah. So basically, you know, when I'm teaching people how to draw and shoot, you know, I want them to be able to see the holster. It's kind of hard to see if the black gun, black holster. So it's a lot easier for them to see if I got a red holster with a blue gun or something. Or even this, you know, here I got tan pants, so a black holster with a red gun works really good too. Now I've been carrying this one over here, black gun, black G26, black holster. I guess almost a month at this point. Really satisfied with it when I sit in the car, because that's the true test. Can you comfortably sit in the car with it? And yes, I'm able to sit pretty good. Before this, I was carrying the Shield 9. Not that much of a difference. I mean, yeah, it's still a little bit thicker than the Shield 9, so you're going to feel a little bit more, but I'm not that much more comfortable. I did try carrying it for a couple of days with the extra magazine on this side over here. There was just too much stuff going on there. When I was carrying the Shield 9, I had no problem with gun here, extra magazine here, because that's a single stack magazine. That wasn't that big of a deal. But when I tried carrying gun G26 here, you know, extra magazine here, that ended up being a little bit too much stuff on me. So what I do is I just keep an extra 17 round magazine in my car, in my shop. I plant these all over the place. That's a great thing about the G26, that, you know, it takes magazines intended for larger guns. Okay, so that's why I consider this a duty grade compact gun. Like the Shield 9, yeah, it's a great gun, but still a single stack. You know, I mean, I consider that a good everyday carry gun, but I don't consider that duty grade. Okay, so now as far as you know, what magazines do I carry? I've been carrying it with these clear ETS ones, and I know people are like, yeah, ETS magazines not reliable. And yeah, if you're using 30 round magazines, they're not reliable, right? I agree with that. But I have found that the 17 rounders are pretty good, are very reliable, unless you're shooting them in your Palmetto PX9, which does not have a last round bolt hold open. Because what happens is on that last round, the bolt is going forward and it's shaving the feed lips, and it's slowly eating away at the feed lips. So if you're doing that, yes, the magazines are going to become unreliable. That's why for my Palmettos, I use clear magazines, and then I use these blue ones here that never go in my Palmetto PX9 rifles. This way I know that these are staying, you know, don't get damaged. Now the way I've been carrying it, and like I said, I've shot hundreds of rounds. I'm telling you, these are reliable magazines, okay? Especially with the 10 rounds, because here's the thing, the bigger the magazine comes, right? If you've got, let's say, a 30 round magazine, there's more of a chance that the spring is gonna, you know, get all bent out of shape. But with a 10 round magazine, the spring doesn't really travel that much, so there's less of a chance that it's gonna get tangled up. Okay, so especially with these 10 rounds, never had a problem with the hundreds of rounds I have fired over here. Even with the 17 rounders, I really never have a problem with these. They're all pretty good. Now, I was carrying this for a couple of days in this magazine holder from Darwin Defense, and what I did find is that the corners of the magazine were a little bit sharp, right? They were. So I was actually thinking of filing these down, but I said, you know what? Let's try this other magazine. So I got a P mag here. This is actually a 12 rounder, right? It's got the little pinky extension. Okay, and what I found is when I put this in, it was a little smoother, and it didn't stick out that much more. So this actually makes sense. Carry the gun with a 10 round, the G26 with a 10 round magazine, and then if you can have a backup, you can have the 12 rounder as a backup, and then you can plant the 17 rounders at different places. You know, and this would be a good way to carry this gun if you're doing like security work or something like that. Carry the gun with 10 rounds, and then have a 12 round backup magazine. You know, again, these 12 round P mags, I've shot many rounds with these. On these guns, I've not had any jams. They're very reliable. Now, the one thing I want to say with these magazine holders from Darwin Defense, basically the magazine, because let's say the bullet's going forward that way, it only goes in one way. You can't flip it around and put it in the other way. So here's the thing: if I put this inside the waistband, right, I want my bullets pointed forward, so when I come up, I'm able to go, you know, into my magazine, right? So I want the bullets pointed forward. So if you're a left-handed person, that can be an issue. If you need your bullets pointed forward, right, and then all of a sudden, whoops, there you go. If you need your bullets pointed forward, but you need to carry it on this side, well, now they're going to be pointing backwards. So now you gotta get used to, I guess, going like that, right? So if you come out, you gotta train to come up and go under instead of, I mean, it can work. It's just a matter of how you practice. You just gotta be consistent with it instead of the way I do it with these magazines here. So, so yeah, from here you gotta come in and come in like this. So that's something you just gotta train. If you're gonna order these magazine holders, what you can do is talk, you know, message Darwin Defense and ask them if there's a way that they can actually flip this around, so that, you know, again, because like I said, if the clip's on this side, right, then basically the bullets point that way. But if you need it pointed this way, then they gotta see if they can do something for you. I don't know the answer to that. If that's something you're interested in, you gotta talk to them about that. But these are really good magazines. I mean, I have used these for a couple of my classes. People are really happy with them. People are really quick in and out. Works with the 17 round magazines, you know. I mean, yeah, no complaints at all. Really happy with this. So, like I was saying, first I ordered these two, you know, right side inside the waistband. Had this on this side. I did one class with this, and I said, you know, this is great. I saw people that tried it out. They loved it. And then almost immediately after the class, what I did is I ordered a black one. I ordered a lefty. This one's actually lefty, and the one I'm carrying is righty. So this one would go on the left side over here, because sometimes I get lefties. Okay. So I mean, this is great. I mean, really happy with it. As far as I know, this is the only company that makes a inside the waistband holster for your Polymer 80 G26. So again, let me give you guys the information in case it's something that you guys are interested in. Okay, and like I said, I found them on eBay. Just look up Darwin Defense, or just look up, you know, I guess Polymer 80 holsters, and they'll probably come up somewhere on the list. So I hope you guys found this video useful. If you're not a member of the channel, subscribe. I'll talk to you guys soon.